Hello friends, I'm Alyssa Chambers, and today we are going to do our makeup and talk about astrology. So far, we have talked about how to look up your chart and the first 4, 5 planets, kind of. So today we're going to cover the rest of the planets and also Chiron, which is an asteroid which influences you as well. If you are into astrology, I would really appreciate a subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. I'm going to continue talking about astrology and doing my makeup probably forever. I could talk about this forever. If you have anything you want to learn about, go ahead and comment. But for now, we're just covering the basics. Also, just a disclaimer, if you hear like lips smacking, it's because my dogs won't leave me alone. And sometimes I pretend to do their makeup. So, this is my fault. Okay, so Saturn. Saturn's symbol on your chart looks like an H, but with really exaggerated lines. So it kind of is like more loopy, but no other ones look like that, so you'll know which one I mean. Saturn is ruled by Capricorn. So if you're already into astrology and you know your signs relatively well, then it's kind of easy to figure them out because of what rules them is a big part of how they all intertwine. So as you can assume, Saturn is all about work ethic, stability, getting yourself right. You want to, set yourself up to succeed. And if you know what sign represents your Saturn, that's your best way of doing that. Saturn is one of the last ones that isn't affecting basically an entire generation. It is about 2.5 years before it switches into the next sign. Next we have Uranus or Uranus, depending on how immature people are being for that scientist or whoever to talk about. Probably not a scientist. I don't think scientists believe in astrology. But the symbol for Uranus looks like it's a circle with a line, and then there's a line going across, and then there's two crescent shapes coming out, this, and it is definitely the only one that looks like that, so you'll know exactly which one I'm talking about. What? Uranus is your uniqueness. It's what makes you special, and it's ruled by Aquarius, which Aquarius, they're kind of known for being a little bit weird sometimes. I feel like it's kind of easy to spot an Aquarius. You're like, oh, yep, that's definitely an Aquarius. They being real crazy. And they're somehow fine with that also. I feel like I'm not even gonna offend an Aquarius right now. I have some Aquarius placements and it doesn't make me mad. So depending on what sign you have near your Uranus when you were born, says what is really unique about you. So if it's a water sign, then you are very good at being emotional. That sounds bad, but some people aren't. Some people don't really care much about anything. So if you are a water sign and you feel like you have a hard time struggling with being emotional all the time, honestly, sometimes it's a blessing. Some people don't care about anything at all. Uranus is kind of what makes you original or unique. It's how you think outside of the box compared to other people. And if you learn about it a lot, you can kind of utilize that for, things at work, stuff like that. Uranus takes about 7 years to go around to the next sign. So this one hangs out for a while. So a lot of generations will have the same thing, and that's how sometimes generations will actually get along. Next we have Neptune, and to remember the symbol for Neptune, just think about a trident, like the Little Mermaid, how her dad Neptune has a trident, because that's what it looks like a pitchfork kind of. Helps me. Neptune is associated with Pisces, and it is what runs like our subconscious. It's what makes us compassionate. It's like our spirituality, that kind of stuff. Now, this is where I think things are kind of crazy, because Neptune takes 14 years. 14 years to get to the next sign. That is like, you know, you're gonna have a kid. Like, that is a generation, basically. So it's crazy, because I notice, especially with generations, how similar our spiritualities are. Like, back in the day, everyone really thought this or everyone really thought that. And it's kind of interesting to think about whether it has to do with Neptune having to do with it, or if it's just a coincidence, because that's what everyone's talking about. Next we have Pluto. And Pluto's symbol just kind of looks like a little pea with a tail coming out. It's kind of, the tail is facing the way that you would read. It's not like a tail coming the other way. I don't know if you would call it a tail, but it looks like a pea. Pluto is ruled by Scorpio, which is funny to me because it's generational, so it's not really like a secret what somebody has. You could literally look it up right now, and if someone was born, you like know for the past, like, I think it's almost 20 years Pluto stays in the same sign. So Pluto is all about like control, death, the afterlife, transformation. So it's kind of like, I don't know, I just find it really interesting that it's so generational, because everybody really does seem to be on the same page. So like millennials, I looked it up, it's almost completely in line with Pluto and Scorpio, which is where it wants to be. But it's like I'm a millennial. We all like, you know, went through the emo phase, and like all of us feel generally the same way about life. It's so crazy. And then if you look at the generation before that, I think I want to do like a whole video separate on that, but it's completely different. It's so weird. So finally you have your Chiron, which is actually an asteroid, but it's a very important asteroid. Chiron, I believe they call it the like wounded healer. Basically, Chiron is like what really trips you up. So your Chiron in your chart, it changes every 4 years, and it looks like a circle, but with a K coming out of it. It kind of looks like a key, which is good because it's really important. It is what really messes you up. So say that yours is in Virgo. Virgo is all about organization, intellect, like being on top of things and keeping everything together. So if yours is in Virgo, or someone you know is in Virgo, and things get like messed up at the house, or you have to live with somebody or something like that, and like things get messy, literally messy, and they start freaking out, that's how you know like how to handle it. So you're more aware of things that affect people. For another example, if it were in Leo, Leo is all about ego. So they don't take very well to personal attacks. And sometimes they don't even realize that it's not or it is a personal attack. Like you could be like, oh, you look so nice today. And they'll be like, oh, I don't look nice every other day. And they'll think about it. They'll stew over it. Like it's very important. Something you really want to learn about yourself and definitely about other people to help you get along with them. Yeah, so that's all the planets and Chiron. So now you can look at the chart and see where the planets are placed. And there's also symbols of what signs they're near. So next we are going to do, I think, the big three, which is the sun, moon, and your ascendant or rising sign. We'll identify those. And then you'll be able to start to figure out your chart. And then I'm going to go into each individual sign. So you'll start to place them. Then we'll figure out houses. That's going to be like a whole, it's going to be like a whole thing. But thank you for watching. I hope you learned a lot. If you have questions, just comment below.